Hello there fellow acolytes and welcome to another Nintendo Switch Gems video. The series where I look at a variety of different titles, from retail games to eShop games, to well-known games to hidden games. Hopefully there's something there for everyone. Now I'm quite excited about this episode because I have a few really good titles in it that I'm looking forward to sharing with you. So I'm not going to hesitate any longer and I'm going to get straight into it. The first game on the list is actually quite a recent title, and that's Mario Party. Now I'm going to be straight with you, I've never played a Mario Party game properly. I've played bits before, like the occasional minigame, but I've never actually played the game properly, and I was a little bit apprehensive, to be honest. Board games like Monopoly and stuff can be fun for a limited period of time, but they can seem to get a little bit stale and a little bit boring after a while. I do enjoy minigames, but to be honest, the minigames of Mario Party tend to have a bit of a bad reputation. There's always the running joke with the earlier Mario Party titles, they used to kill the palms of your hand because you have to use track and field style techniques in order to pass them. However, I got this game on a whim because it's something that I thought would be good to play with my girlfriend Connie, which is something we have played and recorded, and I'm hoping to get a playthrough of that up soon, to be honest. Anyway, I got the game for us to play and took a little bit of a punt on it, and I was very surprised. How the game works is that it's a very basic board game. There are typically different areas on the map. It's usually split into 4 different areas. Toadette will then appear in one of those areas with a star. You have to make your way around the board using dice rolls, and once you pass her, you have the option to buy the star. The maps are very simple and there are only like a few obstacles in the way, but that's quite good. It doesn't really overcomplicate things. I have heard that earlier Mario Party maps have a lot more going on and they're a lot more complicated, but to be honest, I quite like these simple maps because the focus really is on the minigames more than anything, and it's also simple enough where you can actually apply a certain degree of strategy with your movement. There are different characters that you can choose from, and each one of them has access to a normal 6-sided dice, but then you also get access to a special dice. Some dice have higher rolls available, so you can get like maybe 8 or even 10, but the ones that have a higher roll available often have the downside of having negative effects, so you may move 0 spaces or you may even lose coins. There are other ones as well that don't roll as high, but then you get access to safer numbers. These dice add a great deal of strategy and are particularly useful in the partner boards where you actually have free roam and can go on whatever square you want. In addition, throughout the board you can pick up allies. Now allies will offer you their special dice, and they also have their own little dice in the background where they can basically give you an extra bump, so you might be able to go an extra 1 or 2 spaces. Stars are the ultimate object of the game. The person with the most stars wins. Things like winning minigames, picking up allies, stomping on people. Those will give you the chance to earn bonus stars at the end, which could make you go from a losing position to a winning position. As for the minigames themselves, the minigames are mostly really good. I've only seen like maybe 2 or 3 bad ones, which out of 18 minigames isn't bad. They're a lot of fun and they do use the gyro controls and the motion controls, which typically I don't like in games, but in the minigames they work quite well. Mario Party also offers a variety of game modes. There's a regular free-for-all board. There's the partner board where you work in teams of 2. There's River Survival where you're cooperative in a team of 4. Like there's a rhythm mode which has rhythm-based minigames, and Toad's Rec Room which has just stuff that doesn't really fit anywhere else. It has a nice variety to it. The downside is that you can't play the board games online, which is a real big shame, and I hope they add support for that in the future. But it's still good fun that even if you've only got one other person to play with, it's definitely worth picking up. The next game on the list is a bit of an interesting title. It's a game that I didn't buy for a long time because it's sort of a spin-off game of Mighty No. 9. Now, Mighty No. 9, you may be aware of, was the game that was made by one of the original creators of Mega Man. And it was notorious because it had lots of problems with a Kickstarter and ended up being a decidedly very average, even below average game. This, however, is very good. It's a cross between the Gunvolt series and the Mighty No. 9 series. And really, this game is what Mighty No. 9 should have been. It is in the old school 8-bit style, but it does feel more like a Mega Man than Mighty No. 9 originally did. It takes the original themes from the Mighty No. 9 game and puts them into this 8-bit environment, and it's quite well done. The music is nice and chirpy. The bosses are all really cool and really fun to fight. My biggest gripe is actually the weapons more than anything. You can pick up different items and different upgrades for your weapons, so you can customize your weapon set and make it into whatever you want. It sounds like a great idea, but to be honest, it doesn't work very well. There's a couple of things that do affect your weapon in a decent way, like increasing bullet size or adding homing to it, but a lot of it just seems to be more aesthetic rather than anything. It's a little bit disappointing, and to be honest, I kind of hope that if they do make a follow-up to this, they address that. But Mighty Gun Volt Burst is a cheap title, and if you're a fan of the Mega Man games, it's still definitely worth playing. It's nowhere near as good as like any of the classic Mega Man games, but it's still a decent time. The next game on the list is Lego City Undercover. Now, Lego City Undercover, in a nutshell, is basically a cross between Grand Theft Auto and the Lego games. You have a big open world in Lego City, which is quite surprisingly big for what you'd expect from a Lego game. However, the missions that you end up doing as part of the story are actually played out like standard Lego games. The standard Lego games where you go in an area, you destroy different things, and you build things out of Lego, and then throw in some basic combat, and you basically have Lego City Undercover. If you've played any of the countless Lego games, then you'll know exactly what to expect from the missions. It doesn't really try anything new. If you're expecting it to be as varied as like a Grand Theft Auto game and offer a variety of different things to keep you entertained, it really doesn't. It's effectively predominantly a Lego game. It does throw in the occasional driving sequence, which does break things up, but mainly when you're playing the game, you'll be playing levels that feel like levels from any other Lego game. What makes this different is the open free roaming mode that you have outside of the levels. There are a lot of things to find, and the exploration is really the key point of Lego City Undercover. There are lots of different areas to build, different areas to explore in order to unlock different things. Really building things out of Lego, destroying things and finding things is going to be the primary source of entertainment. If you love Lego games, then this game is definitely going to be for you. Personally, I find that the formula of breaking everything and then building things out of Lego in order to get through can get a little bit tiring, so I had to play Lego City Undercover in kind of small doses, but it's still a really fun game and has a lot of charm. It's also a very long game, and the story is somewhat endearing. Some of the jokes can be a little bit hit or miss, but to be honest, it's a damn good game. The price for Lego City Undercover though is unfortunately a little bit high. If you can get the physical version, you can probably find it for quite a cheap price. However, in Europe, the price of Lego City Undercover is very expensive. I actually have an American eShop account, and for some reason the game over there is actually really cheap, and I have absolutely no idea why. Europe seems to be stupidly overpriced, and it charges an amount that the game's simply not worth. If you're in Europe and you're interested in the game, I would say definitely pick up physical. If you're in America though, then I'd say it's definitely worth the price it's going for in the eShop. The next game on the list is an absolute cracker. It's Mr. Shifty. Mr. Shifty feels a little bit like Hotline Miami if you cross it with X-Men 2's Nightcrawler. You go through different levels and you have to take down bad guys. The twist on the formula is that you have a short-range teleporting ability. This makes it so that you can dodge things like lasers, bullets, and avoid attacks. Just like in Hotline Miami, everything is very fast-paced and it's a kill or be killed situation. You're in areas that typically have a lot of enemies, and they will die very quickly. But so will you. If you get hit even once, then you are dead. This makes the game challenging, and once you get used to picking up and using melee weapons, you'll find that things get like a lot easier. I find that the difficulty curve of the game is a little bit strange. It starts off quite difficult while you're still getting to grips with your abilities, and then it starts to get really easy. After that, it starts picking up in difficulty towards the end, and then the final level is pretty challenging. It's a game that you definitely must play and must experience, because it's a real frenetic experience and makes you feel like a complete badass. If you've ever played the Hotline Miami games, then this game is definitely for you. The game's not without its problems. The game does offer a fair bit of variety, but maybe it runs slightly longer than it probably should. You won't get bored with it, that's for sure, but you'll feel that by the end of it, it starts to feel a little bit draining. The other problem it has as well is that it can occasionally crash. Throughout the game, I experienced 2 crashes, one of which was when I got the final hit on the final boss, which actually was quite a pain, because as I say, that level was quite difficult, so having it crash on the final boss was a little bit of a bally. That being said, the game is still amazingly fun, and I would say it's definitely worth your time. The final game, and my personal pick this time, is Majorca Real Estate. It was a close competition between this and Mr. Shifty, but this game edges it out because of how unique it is as a video game. The game puts you in control of a supernatural estate agency as you visit each property, and you need to utilise magic incantations to remove the evil spirits. However, each house has unique magic that you need to learn via solving puzzles. What really sets this game apart though from other games is that it more or less requires the use of pencil and paper in order to solve the puzzles. You can get by without for some puzzles, but for others it's pretty much a requirement. The game has PDF versions of the floor plans, and that also includes like further clues, hints, information for you to use on your quest. All of these can be accessed in-game, but you really should get it printed. The game takes you to a variety of different locations and it mixes things up so you are always on your toes with exactly how to solve things. There are some recurring ideas, but generally the game likes to do things different just to keep things fresh. Particular highlights for me include an Egyptian temple that you need to draw a map for, and then work out the magic attack code based on hieroglyphic locations, and a laboratory where all the spells require mathematical calculations. Nothing too difficult, since the game wants you to work out how to solve a puzzle rather than test your mathematical prowess. But honestly, I can't recommend this game enough. I'm not actually a fan of the action puzzle genre, since they tend to outstay their welcome and often require you to do the same things again and again, but Majorca, on the other hand, stays fresh throughout its 20 levels and doesn't outstay its welcome. The game offers continual variety and never really reaches a point where you feel bogged down at all. It's quite difficult to talk about this game and explain just how good it is, because with the videos, it can't really show off how fun the game is, because it uses the pencil and paper approach to help, add to the puzzle solving fun. However, just take my word that if you like puzzles, then this definitely is a must buy. The game's also cheap, it's about a tenner, so honestly, it's a steal for the asking price. You should just go and get it. I would love to be able to fully express as to, just how good this game is, but it's one of those things that you need to experience rather than see, because it really is the experience that sets this game apart. Not only is it a fantastic game, but it's also probably one of my favourite games on the Switch at the moment. This game is definitely my pick for this month. So those were the 5 games we covered this time. We looked at Mario Party, Mighty Gunvolt Burst, Lego City Undercover, Mr. Shifty and Majorca Real Estate. Have you played any of these games before? If you have, then drop a comment below and let me know what you think. Thanks all for watching. Bye.